My name is Nowlan, and I'm a figurative sculptor, both portraits and monumental, and we are in my studio here in Windsor, Vermont. Oh, this is a big old Unitarian church that was desanctified in the 70s, I guess, and it has been a dance studio at one point and a consignment shop, but now it's a big old sculpture studio. I came to Windsor in 1995 when I won the residency as the sculptor in residence at St. Gaudens National Historic Site right across the famous covered bridge down here. I was at St. Gaudens for 5 years, and during that time I won a commission for a national monument. So I worked there, and then I opened a studio here in Windsor to work on that piece. And it took a little getting used to because I'm from Philadelphia and I was in graduate school in Manhattan. But because I had work to do, I was just immersed in the work. And slowly, it occurred to me that the space, the atmosphere, the calmness, the space both physical and spiritually, the lack of pressure is very conducive to what I do. I've done many monuments across the country. Today, as a matter of fact, I received a phone call from a board member of the National Wildland Firefighters Foundation. That was the national monument I got commissioned to do when I was at St. Gaudens. We did an additional cast of one of the 3 figures which was placed at the Boise airport. And I was called by a board member today, and they told me that that piece was removed and brought to Prescott, Arizona, and has been on display at the funerals of those 19 firefighters. That was extremely humbling. And when I was on the phone with this fella, John, I let him know that I don't know how other artists work or how other sculptors work, but for me, this is all personal, the people I meet and whatnot. So that was very close to my heart. Recently, I did a piece for the Philadelphia Phillies of Harry Callis, their famous announcer. He announced for 40 years, and I put a group of people together, and we created a nonprofit, raised the money, created the piece, and gifted it to the team. They all have a different flavor, but I don't feel any ownership towards them. And people often ask me, is it hard to let them go? And it's not, really. I mean, you have a certain amount of time to do it. What's interesting is when I see the pieces, it's like seeing an old roommate. It brings you back to a different time and place, and you're like, oh, that was an interesting time. Over the years, people would say, like, why are you in Windsor, or why are you up here? And clearly they didn't understand the magic, or at least from an artistic perspective, just the atmosphere and how just incredibly creative it can be. Of course, the Cornish colony in St. Gaudens, the longer I'm around, the clearer it is to me, the magic that kept people like Maxfield Parrish, brought these people here, and why they stayed. Create and work in Vermont for me has been different than Philadelphia or New York. There's a baseline, an energy baseline. In the city, it's just higher. So you're running hotter. And for someone who is instinctual and emotional, you're running hot all the time. You're just going to get off the tracks. And here in Vermont, for my own personality, it's a calmer baseline. So there's just more balance. There's more peace, there's more balance. When things need to get amped up, there's plenty of space to amp them up. When it's time to dial it back, it's like landing on a pillow. I can create a whole bronze monument without ever leaving the state. So I do all the sculpture work. I do a model here, and then it can be enlarged over at Campbell Plaster and Iron, a foundry owned by Glenn Campbell in West Rutland. So then he brings it back here, I finish it, we bring it back there, mold it, cast it in bronze, finish it, and then we deliver it. So that's a wonderful feeling. We could clearly put the Made in Vermont sticker on those. It's been my experience here in Vermont that people are just go out of their way to help you. And I hope they feel the same way about me when they need help. I can't speak for them, but I think it's nice over the years. A lot of people have said, this is really good for Windsor that you're there. And I don't know what that means, but if that's how they feel, and anytime you can bring a positive light to the environment that you're in, that's a good thing.